Okay, so we're going to go over how to paint your cars in iRacing. A lot of you probably coming from Forza, it's a bit different. The software we use is Photoshop and Illustrator, or if on the free side, something like GIMP or Ink. Corel Draw is another one. And so this allows you to edit the files and create your layouts. And then you use a program called Trading Paints to display them in the game. So first things first, you're going to want to head over to Trading Paints, which is this website. And you'll create an account, obviously. And when you do that, you'll see that you have all the cars that are available in the game. Now, the first thing you want to do, though, is download the program. So if I can just find it. There it is, install. So click that. That'll download a little piece of software like this. And you probably want to set that to start automatically and always run. I just leave it running all the time. There are some options in here to make painting cars a little easier, but we're not going to really go into those because it gets a bit complicated. But if you want to look up on their website just by Googling painting mode, it is fairly helpful if you really want to get into some detail. Now, in here, what you'll see is all the different cars. So if you come down to, say, the Mustang, which is predominantly what I deal with, it'll show the current paint job that I have created. Now, you can also just select from community paints. So there's just like Forza. So you scroll through all the ones and pick one that you think looks cool, and that'll display it on the car. Pretty simple, really. But to create your own, you need to design this. So there's a few ways to do it. One of the things I like to do is actually go in here and download one of these, and then take a screenshot by using this piece of software, the snapping tool, and you can create a screenshot of that. And the reason I do that is it just gives you a very simple outline of where everything actually is. So you can see this, the headlights, and these are your wing, and this is, etc., etc. It just gives you something to go off, basically. You don't need to do that. So once you do that, your next thing you're going to need to do is to log into iRacing and head over to Paint. So if you just select any car and go Paint, this will take you to iRacing's inbuilt paint mechanics, which are very basic. It's essentially you pick 3 colors and can varies them in different basic designs, depending on what you're keen on. So that's kind of how that works. And you can also, something you should do while you're in here is set your preferred numbers and your sponsors. So if someone isn't using Trading Paints, this is what they will see. So it's always good to just set something up in here and make it look reasonable. I like to choose Trading Paints because that gets people to realize what it is and hopefully go and get it. Alright, anyway, and so you can switch these around and that changes the total look of the car kind of thing. So anyway, you can play with that and save. But what we want to do is get a template to create our own. So you click download car templates, and this will be your pop-up for all the different templates. So you can just get them all, or go and grab the car you're interested in, which for us at this point will be the Supercars Mustang GT. So I've already got that, so I don't need to grab it. Once you grab that, you'll end up with a file that looks such as this. So you open it up in Photoshop. So I'll get rid of my designs and put on the basic outline. So this is what you get. And you can also turn on the wireframe, which helps give a bit of an understanding as well. So this is how you paint the car, basically. So you take this and you start coloring in pieces to how you want it. I don't particularly care for Photoshop, so I use Illustrator. And in Illustrator, I bring in the base layout so I can see what I'm doing. And then if I turn that off, you'll see I'm just creating all these different patterns and designs to go all over the car. And then I've got all my logos to go in the correct spots. And I do try to grab like something to go off. So there's one down here that you'll see if I move it to the top. that was a design that I thought was kind of cool, so I've based it off that, and that gave me some good ideas of where things need to go and how they're going to look. So that's kind of the basics of it. Coming back to the AI stuff, I'm just going to give a bit more of a dive into what I actually do. So I like to keep this on. This shows what pieces actually show up, and then it's also useful sometimes to have the wireframe as well. At the moment, I don't think I have it loaded. So yeah, I'm going to go grab this wireframe. Now that that's selected, I can just export that as a PNG, because PNGs give you transparency in the background. Oops. Cool, and then we can just grab that Mustang wire and pop it in here. If I then place it over the top, like so, and lock that down so we don't select it. So now you can kind of get an idea of what's going on. So if I zoom in here, so you can see there's all these little pieces that are different sections of the car, so you can get really crazy if you really want to go into all that sort of detail. You can obviously paint the windows and the glass, and some parts can't be though, so you'll notice that as you do some testing. These are the headlights here. You got your fuel cap and things, the front bar. So there's headlights here, but they're actually not part of the design. This is the back of the headlight, and whereas this is the paint over the top. But you can then put intricate designs all in there if you really wanted to. So as you can see, this is just a big orange object that I've put over the top there. But when you apply the mask over it, it cuts out all the pieces that you need to worry about. Same with back here, so that's just a weird shape over that, and then I've chucked the logo on top of it. With my numbers on, you probably don't want to really do too many things with numbers. That's why I haven't done it on the side, because the number is done on the window and it's done via the game itself, so you'll get assigned whatever number the game deems you to have, so it's kind of not useful to have a number on the car. It can look weird. And yeah, so it's just a lot of playing around like that, and then when you get it back into Photoshop and you turn it back on, it looks like it fits, if you know what I mean. You can actually see too, so one of the things that the wireframe does is you can see where it actually ends. So this is the end of the actual model of the car, the 3D model. So you just need to make sure you've got all these polygons covered. Everything outside here doesn't matter, so that's when you get into these little intricate spots. And here, you don't need to paint all these pieces, you just need to make sure the actual wireframe itself has paint. That's fairly prevalent in here, so as you can see. So, well, another thing with the headlights, this is like a special cutout piece, so you can't paint that. That's where the actual headlights sit, and if you painted it, you wouldn't have any headlights. So, as like the real cars, you can't cover that, but you can cover the rest. You can remove the badges as well. You don't need to keep that there. That's just part of the initial model, but you can cover that in black and it won't show. I left it though. Same with Ford Performance, that was already on the model. The Holden's actually fairly similar if I show you that one. It has Holden on the window here and also on the front bar up here. So I didn't actually want that on there, so I removed it. If you get rid of this, on the back I didn't want it, yeah. So if I put that back on and then remove this piece wherever it is, I've got to find where I did it. Forget about it. But yeah, you can cover those pieces if you don't want them. And then there is specular mapping. I haven't really done much with it yet. It determines the reflectivity and metallic kind of look of certain parts of the car. You can look into that if you want. It's cool. It can do some really nice stuff, but I just haven't really got into it just yet. But it's there as well. Once you create that, you take it back into Photoshop and you turn off this, as it says, and you turn on your design, and then you need to save this out. So we go save as, and it needs to be saved as what's called a TGA file. So it's just a very high quality kind of file. So you click on that, you click save, and it needs to be 24-bit. That's kind of important. So just make sure you click that. And then what that gives you is this TGA file. So now we can come back into Trading Paints and choose Paint and upload our own, and you select that file, and away you go. And then once you've done that, you can fire up iRacing. So we'll bring that over as well. So let's jump in the Mustang. And we'll go test car. So after it takes a few moments to get the loading going, I'll just flick you over to the correct screen so we can see. And we will just make sure that fits. So then the game will load up, obviously. I've got different screens, so that's why that's on another screen. And once we're in there, we can then click on test and click on the car, pause it. We'll go to a different camera mode so we can actually see what's going on there. Now we can actually see the car. So there's a key combination now to actually move around the car. So if you press Control F12, you'll get this camera edit mode. And so you can just use this to do it and move in and out. And that kind of works. Or if you want, you can press Control Z, and now it's free zooming around the car. It's a little bit weird to get used to, but it gets the job done. And so now we can see our paint job, and you can go around and, check all the little bits, make sure you haven't missed anything. And basically I would load this up a few times and just check what I've done and what works and what doesn't work. There's lots of little things that might look a bit funny or not quite right. So that lets you just go around the car and check all the little parts. And then obviously once you're done, press escape a few times and quit. And now that car will show every time you head out to race. So yeah, pretty simple. That's really all there is to it. And then you'll obviously, the settings download other people's cars. So if you've got Trading Paints running, which it has to be running, you'll see all the other paint jobs in the sessions that you run. So if you don't have it, obviously you're not going to see anyone's stuff. You'll just see these basic paint jobs. So yeah, I hope that helps. I'm going to create a series board that I'd like everyone to run. So you would just take the image that I create and chuck it in your artwork, and that should work. It's not going to be mandatory because this is a little bit difficult for everyone, but if you can use that, that'd be great. Cool. Any questions or anything you need to find out about, feel free to hit us up and ask some questions.